The New Deal, How FDR Changed America Forever. Welcome back to Mystic America. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe for more powerful stories from history. A nation in crisis. The Great Depression of the 1930s was the darkest economic crisis in American history. Millions were out of work, banks were failing, farms were collapsing, and people stood in breadlines just to survive. The country had lost faith in leadership, and many wondered if democracy itself could endure. In 1932, Franklin Delano Roosevelt promised Americans a New Deal for the forgotten man. When he took office in March 1933, he moved quickly to make good on that promise. What followed would reshape the nation's economy, government, and even the relationship between citizens and the state. The 100 Days. During his first 100 days in office, Roosevelt and Congress launched an unprecedented wave of legislation. The goal was simple: relief for the unemployed, recovery for the economy, and reform to prevent future collapse. The Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, put young men to work planting trees, building trails, and fighting forest fires. The Works Progress Administration, or WPA, gave jobs to millions, building schools, roads, parks, and bridges. Artists, writers, and musicians also found support through federal projects that preserved America's culture during desperate times. Farmers, too, saw relief. Through the Agricultural Adjustment Act, the government paid farmers to reduce production, stabilizing crop prices, and keeping many afloat. Rebuilding confidence. The New Deal also restored faith in the banking system. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, guaranteed deposits so that people no longer feared losing their savings. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, began regulating Wall Street to end the reckless speculation that had fueled the 1929 crash. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Valley Authority brought electricity, flood control, and jobs to one of the poorest regions of the country. Entire communities were lifted from poverty by the power of this massive public works project. Voices of Hope FDR didn't just create programs, he created confidence. His famous fireside chats, delivered over the radio, spoke directly to the American people in plain, reassuring language. At a time when fear was rampant, Roosevelt made people feel like they weren't alone. He was supported by Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady, who became his eyes and ears across the country. She visited towns, factories, and farms, reporting back to her husband about the struggles of ordinary people. The Second New Deal. By 1935, Roosevelt introduced what historians call the Second New Deal. It focused on workers' rights, social programs, and long-term security. The Wagner Act protected labor unions and gave workers the right to organize. The Social Security Act of 1935 created pensions for the elderly, unemployment insurance, and aid for the disabled, programs that still exist today. Resistance and legacy. Not everyone welcomed the New Deal. Business leaders complained about government interference, and the Supreme Court even struck down several programs. But Roosevelt pressed on, and by the end of the decade, the New Deal had fundamentally changed America. While it did not end the Depression on its own, that would come with World War II, it restored stability, created jobs, and gave millions of Americans hope. Perhaps more importantly, it redefined the role of government, proving that in times of crisis, Washington could act boldly to protect its people. The New Deal was more than a set of policies. It was a turning point in American history, a moment when the country refused to collapse and instead built the foundations of the modern United States. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mystic America for more history brought to life.